The one-night decision, how to rewrite your destiny, the Tarantino principle. Think about this for a second. How many nights have already passed in your life that seemed utterly ordinary, yet could have been the secret turning point of your entire destiny? Now, imagine that tonight, yes, tonight, could be the night that brutally rewrites your entire story. The precise moment where the person you currently are finally confronts and meets the person you are always meant to become. We are masters of delay. We wait for the perfect timing, the flawless plan, or some grand cosmic sign to take action. But what if all it truly takes is one night, one irrevocable decision, one spark of courage, and one final act of faith in yourself? In this exploration, we are going to dive deep into a powerful truth embodied by Quentin Tarantino's own improbable life. The idea that profound transformation does not require years of slow change. It requires intensity, absolute clarity, and a single explosive moment of decision. Stay with me until the very end, because the last lesson we uncover is the most powerful of all. It is the one principle that can redefine your purpose, your potential, and the way you view your creative life forever. The volcano of vision, crossing the invisible line. Tarantino was not born into Hollywood royalty. He didn't graduate from prestigious film schools. He famously worked at a video rental store, earning just enough to survive, surrounded by the physical manifestation of his obsession. Yet every single day, he was engaged in the activity that would later define his genius. He was watching, studying, and absorbing the lost art of cinematic storytelling. To the outside world, it looked like nothing was happening. But deep within him, a volcano of passion, vision, and rebellious boldness was brewing, waiting for the moment to erupt. And then, one night, it happened. He made a choice. He decided he was done waiting for permission. He picked up his script, Reservoir Dogs, and declared to himself, "This is the movie that changes everything." That night, he crossed the invisible line that separates dreamers from doers. A line most people fearfully refuse to cross their entire lives. Psychologist William James once stated, "The greatest discovery of any generation is that a human can alter his life by altering his attitude." Tarantino's story is a perfect reflection of this profound truth. His entire future did not change because he suddenly gained new resources, luck, or fame. It changed because he made a single, non-negotiable decision to take himself seriously, even when absolutely no one else in the world did. Think about that for a moment. How many brilliant ideas have you buried alive because you felt they weren't ready? How many times have you aggressively silenced your inner voice out of the crippling fear that others would mock you? Every truly great life begins with one decisive act of rebellion against self-doubt. Tarantino's rebellion began that single night when he dared to believe that his obsession with cinema was not a wasteful hobby, but the sacred seed of something divine. Neuroscience actually supports this narrative. Research from leading universities shows that the brain dramatically rewires itself after emotionally intense decisions. Moments when you feel deeply committed to a new, non-reversible direction. These powerful emotional spikes trigger neuroplasticity, allowing your brain to literally reorganize itself around a new identity. In other words, when you decide with true, unbridled passion, your brain becomes a new person. That is why one night can truly change your life. But most people tragically never reach that night. Why? Because they chronically underestimate the power of the present moment. They live waiting for someday. Someday I'll write that book. Someday I'll start that business. Someday I'll finally change. But someday is a lie the mind tells to protect you from the immediate discomfort of action. Tarantino didn't wait for someday. He created his night. He turned a script written on scraps of paper into one of the most talked about independent films of all time. He turned rejection into momentum, failure into dialogue, and crippling doubt into powerful, undeniable direction. Ask yourself, what is the reservoir dogs of your life? What is that one dangerous dream that has been sitting in the dark, waiting for you to finally take it seriously? Whatever it is, a project, a confession, a move, a beginning that terrifies you, it is waiting for its night. Philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "The secret of realizing the greatest fruitfulness and the greatest enjoyment of existence is to live dangerously." Tarantino lived dangerously by betting everything on himself, by breaking every acceptable rule, by refusing to fit in. He was not just a filmmaker, he was a declaration that passion, when fused with courage, becomes unstoppable. Rejection as fuel, the growth mindset in action. Every story of true greatness passes through the crucible of rejection. For Tarantino, rejection was not a brick wall, it was a mirror. It showed him not who he was yet, but who he was destined to become. Imagine pouring your soul into a screenplay, only to have doors violently slammed in your face. Agents ignore you, producers laugh. The consensus tells you to be realistic. That is the grinding reality Tarantino faced, over and over. But instead of quitting, he chose to see rejection as proof that he was playing the right game. He famously said, "If you're not rejected, you're not trying hard enough." That specific mindset alone separates the creators from the spectators. Most people mistake rejection for a flashing red signal to stop, but in truth, it is the universe's way of brutally testing the structural strength of your vision. Can you hold your dream when it seems nobody else can even see it? When Tarantino couldn't find support for Reservoir Dogs, he didn't wait for external validation. He found one singular believer, a friend who helped him secure a small, almost impossible budget. With virtually no resources, he built a film that felt like an immediate explosion. It was raw, unpolished, but fundamentally alive. That is the profound power of conviction. It breathes life into what logic screams is impossible. Psychologist Carol Dweck, with her research on the growth mindset, teaches that people who view challenges as opportunities to grow, rather than threats to be avoided, achieve far more in life. Tarantino was the pure embodiment of this. He didn't see failure as proof of inadequacy. He saw it as feedback, a creative spark demanding he refine his craft. Every no sharpened his yes. Now, look at your own life. Where have you mistaken rejection for utter defeat? Maybe you've been told you're not talented enough, smart enough, or young enough. You have heard it's too late so many times that you have begun to believe it. But the truth is, it is never too late to rewrite your narrative. The only thing that truly ages dreams is your decision to stop relentlessly nurturing them. Philosopher Søren Kierkegaard wrote, "Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards." Looking back, Tarantino could see how every rejection ultimately shaped him, but in the moment, he just kept moving forward, believing that one night, one opportunity would finally connect all the invisible dots. That night came with Reservoir Dogs' first screening. The audience's reaction was seismic. Critics called it violent genius. Tarantino didn't just make a film, he made a statement. You don't need permission to express your truth. Mastery is obsession, the power of deliberate practice. Make no mistake, Tarantino's breakthrough was not luck. It was the culmination of years of invisible, sacred preparation meeting one explosive moment of courage. It is easy to look at someone like him and think he was simply destined for greatness. But destiny is not a gift you receive. It is a discipline you build. It is forged moment by moment, night by night, through decisions that few people are willing to make. He studied hundreds of films, not because he was forced to, but because he loved them with consuming obsession. That is the kind of devotion that transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary artistry. If you want your own life-changing night, start by falling completely in love with the process, not just the result. Tarantino didn't chase fame, he chased the craft. He famously said, "I didn't go to film school, I went to films." That statement captures his entire philosophy. Mastery is self-taught through passion and persistence. You do not need a diploma to start, you need obsession. Ask yourself, what are you so deeply obsessed with that you would do it even if nobody ever acknowledged you, even if nobody ever paid you? Modern psychology, specifically the studies on deliberate practice by Anders Ericsson, confirms this. Mastery requires consistent, intentional engagement, not perfection from the start. Greatness is relentlessly built in private long before it is ever celebrated in public. Tarantino's nights spent rewinding VHS tapes, analyzing dialogue, and dissecting scenes were not wasted time. They were sacred preparation for war. What if tonight is truly your night of decision? The moment you stop consuming inspiration and finally start creating transformation? You do not have to have it all figured out. Tarantino didn't. He simply started where he was, with the raw material he had, and he made it profoundly count. Nietzsche urged us to build our life as a work of art. Tarantino did exactly that. He designed his life as a living script. Every experience, every risk, every mistake added a necessary layer to his masterpiece. You can do the same. Life is not something that happens to you. It is something you direct, edit, and aggressively rewrite. The final act: authenticity and meaning. When Tarantino burst into Hollywood with Pulp Fiction, he didn't just bring new films, he brought a new, defiant philosophy of life. He believed that creativity should not be polite, predictable, or confined. It should explode, challenge, and disturb the comfortable consensus. He said, "I am not a filmmaker, I am a storyteller." Hidden within that quote is a profound truth. You are not the actor in your life. You are the writer. Every word, every scene, every choice is ultimately yours to create or to destroy. How many of us live as if we are merely playing roles written by a passive society? Tarantino violently ripped that script to pieces. He wrote his own, line by line, fueled by instinct, defiance, and a burning curiosity. He proved that authenticity is rebellion in its purest, most necessary form. Psychologist Carl Jung called the tragedy of conformity the mask, the false self we wear to fit in. Tarantino entirely refused the mask. He embraced his chaos, his contradictions, and his unconventional passions. That is what made him so magnetic. That is what made him real. What rules are you still obeying that no longer serve your true self? Tarantino used cognitive dissonance as his art form, forcing audiences to question their expectations. Growth never happens in the comfort zone. It happens in the chaos of creation. Albert Einstein lived this truth. Great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds. Tarantino was mocked for his eccentricity, but he never compromised his singular vision. The world does not reward those who blend in. It rewards those who stand out with a purposeful, undeniable fire. Existentialist Jean-Paul Sartre said, "Freedom is what you do with what's been done to you." Tarantino took everything, his rejection, his unconventionality, his pain, and transformed it into art. That is the ultimate act of freedom. Your pain, your failures, your strange obsessions, they are not burdens. They are the raw material for your masterpiece. Viktor Frankl wrote that those who have a why can bear almost any how. Tarantino's why was crystal clear: to tell the stories he was born to tell. Your transformation begins not when life becomes easy, but when your why becomes absolutely undeniable. Maybe your one night won't be a creative breakthrough. Maybe it's the night you finally decide to forgive someone or to forgive yourself. The night you stop being who the world expects and start becoming who your soul remembers. Your life does not change the moment everything around you changes. It changes the moment you decide that it must. That is the real one night, an inner awakening of total non-negotiable clarity. Tarantino's life teaches us that we all possess the power to direct our own masterpiece. You can edit your story, you can rewrite the scenes, you can end the chapter that no longer serves you and begin the one that finally does. Alan Watts reminds us, you are under no obligation to be the same person you were 5 minutes ago. Transformation is always available. Every single night holds the potential for rebirth if you simply dare to claim it. So perhaps tonight is your night. Not tomorrow, tonight. The night you decide to trust that small burning voice inside you. The night you look at the chaos and see possibility instead of fear. Your masterpiece is not waiting to be discovered. It is waiting to be written. And the pen has always been in your hands. Tonight, write, choose, begin.